Hey folks, this is Jeff Key, one half of the Godless Left, here with you today. I figured I'd go over a CNN article with you. Unfortunately, my colleague, my partner in crime, my fellow heathen, has been having personal family issues that he's had to deal with. So today it's just me and my ugly mug here for you folks. But I figured I'd read you the one piece of important news I think came out within the last week or two. It's a tale as old as time. Police officers killing black people. This is the story of Keenan Anderson. This is a article written by CNN. Figured I'd just go over it, add some commentary, and direct you to a website that unfortunately hasn't been updated in the last 3 years, but it's a website that up until 2020 used to take stock of how many people were killed by police officers. Had links to news articles detailing the events that happened and how they were killed and who died and important shit like that. So I'm going to give you the name of that website and read the article for you. Now, unfortunately, this website has been bought or taken over or something by this group called Robar Guns. But, however, they still have the stats from 2020 linking who died, how they died, all plenty of news articles relating to every death. And that can be found at robarguns.com/KBP 2020. KBP would be killed by police, which is what the website used to be called, killedbypolice.net. And if you type that in, you will find Robar Guns. But at least up until 2020, it's been updated, and the entirety of the year 2020 is up there, which, according to them and their news articles, it was over 1,000 people that were killed that year by our lovely police department. So I will make sure to include the links to that page so you can go and look over it yourself. But onwards to the article. Keenan Anderson, cousins of Black Lives Matter co-founder, dies from cardiac arrest after being tased by Los Angeles police. Now, tasers are supposed to be non-lethal. You're not supposed to be killed by tasers. Tasers are there so the police aren't shooting at people and killing people. But apparently even non-lethal weaponry can be quite lethal. A 31-year-old father and English teacher died from cardiac arrest last week after he was repeatedly tased by police. Now, last week was January 3rd. This article was last updated January 14th. So about 9 days ago it was updated, and about 20 days ago, almost 3 weeks ago, is when Keenan Anderson was killed by our lovely police department. Marking the third officer-involved death in the city of Los Angeles this year. They've already had 3. We barely had 3 weeks, and at the time of this article, we hadn't had 3 weeks in the year 2023. So this is at least 1 death every week. So, at the very least, Los Angeles looks like it's lining up to be responsible for killing 52 people this year. God bless our boys in blue, huh? Police encountered Keenan Anderson, who is the cousins of Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrice Coors. I'm probably butchering that name, I apologize. on January 3rd at the site of a traffic collision in Los Angeles' Venice neighborhood, police said in a news release last week. As the police struggled to arrest Anderson, they tased him repeatedly. Edited body-worn camera footage released by police shows. Now, I'd like to just take a minute and underline that word. Edited. This is not the raw footage. This is footage that has already been edited by fellow police officers. Fellow police officers that are going to want to protect the people that were involved with and responsible for the death of Keenan Anderson. So, that's a little sus. After being arrested, Anderson was brought to a local hospital, where he went into cardiac arrest and was pronounced dead, according to police. Coolers said in an Instagram tribute post that her cousin was killed by LAPD. Keenan deserves to be alive right now. His child deserves to be raised by his father. Coolers wrote in the post, Keenan, we will fight for you and for all our loved ones impacted by state violence. I love you. Now, back in 2016, what sticks out in my mind is the death of a man called Philando Castile. Now, Castile, it's been debated as to the specifics, right? Rather he was driving or rather he was in the passenger seat. That's been debated upon. It's been argued rather it was his daughter or the daughter of his girlfriend that was in the back seat. But here's what we know. Police pulled this man over. And they, after asking for his information, for his insurance, so he's probably driving, he told him that he was just reaching for his insurance papers, but he did have a gun in the glove compartment. He warned them about this, try to, minimize the tension in the situation, right? But as soon as they saw him reaching in that glove compartment, despite telling them, I'm going for my insurance papers, they shot him not once, but multiple times. Now, the thing is, again, it's been argued as to rather that was his daughter or the daughter of his girlfriend who happened to be in the car with him as well. But the fact is, there was a child, I believe she was about 4 years of age, who was in the backseat of that car. Watching a man that, if he wasn't her father, she may have started to think of her as a father figure, killed in front of her at 4 years of age. Now, not only that, but there's a magic bullet theory when it comes to JFK and the death of JFK, which is that the bullet ricocheted throughout the vehicle, and that's how he got hit, where he got hit. Well, that gun that was fired multiple times into Philando Castile, those bullets could have very easily ricocheted. And there was a 4-year-old girl in the back seat of the vehicle. So there's the American Police Department right there. Now the NRA? The NRA was fucking crickets. Always want to talk about the rights of the gun owner. But when a black gun owner is killed by police, not a fucking word was said. So there's your NRA for you too. Keenan Anderson, this is the man that was shot and killed on January 3rd, taught 10th grade English at Digital Pioneers Academy in Washington, D.C. According to a statement from the school's founder, Misha Ashton, Anderson was visiting family in Los Angeles over winter break, Ashton said. The details of his death are as disturbing as they are tragic. Keenan was a deeply committed educator and father of a 6-year-old son. He was beloved by all. So again, police violence is not only impacting the people that are actually shot, killed, tased to death, brutalized. It's impacting children. It's impacting the lives of our very youngest. And how are we going to tell these kids to trust police officers and trust cops when they witness their family members dying at their hands? Our community is grieving, but we're also angry. Angry that once again a known, loved, and respected member of our community is no longer with us. Angry that once again. There's a couple words to pay attention to. Once again. Like, this isn't a rare occurrence, man. This is a daily occurrence. Daily, people are killed by police officers. And black people are killed more often than white people. If not in sheer numbers, at least in percentage points. Black people are killed more often. We're talking about something that occurs on a daily basis. Like I said, killedbypolice.net, or Robar Guns, as it may be now, has the police shooting database. And that database, at least as far as 2020 went, they cited over 1,000 deaths. There's only 365 days in a year. That's more than one person. That's more than 2 people killed by police every single day in America. So, yeah, once again, a known, loved, and respected member of a community is no longer with us. Detectives from the police department's Force Investigation Division responded to the scene where Anderson was taken into custody. Excuse me. And are investigating the use of force, police said, explaining in the video that the department's policy defines any death of a person in their custody as a categorical use of force. So far this year, Los Angeles police are also investigating the police shooting deaths of Takar Smith and Oscar Sanchez. And here's released footage of those incidents. Now, I'm sure in a place like LA, you have a lot more people of color. But what's interesting to me looking at this is the 2 other people who police are looking into themselves for are also people of color that were shot and killed by police officers. There is a racial bias to this shit. What the video shows, police said they responded to a traffic collision the afternoon of January 3rd and saw Anderson running in the middle of the street and exhibiting erratic behavior. And one officer's body-worn camera released and edited. Meaning they went over this shit. They edited it. Probably to try to make themselves look as best they could in this situation. Why not just release the raw footage? Why is it released and edited? That word edited bothers me significantly. A woman at the traffic collision site tells police, I think that guy up there needs help though, because the guy's trying to run away. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but maybe I don't understand. Body-worn camera video shows Anderson initially stopped and spoke to an officer before the video cuts to a text screen that says Anderson attempted to run away. Now again, the word that I've been underlining and repeating is edited. Body-worn camera video shows Anderson initially stopped and spoke to an officer before the video cuts to a text screen that says Anderson attempted to run away. Why is it a text screen? If it's on the body camera that they are wearing, why is it a text screen saying he ran away after their fellow police officers edited the footage? When the video resumes, released and edited, Anderson is seen jogging into the street as the officer pursues him and stops him in a busy intersection, commanding Anderson to lay down on his stomach. Now the question is, what the hell happened in that time that the video was edited? Was there something going on there that was cut that they didn't want people to see when they released the video? I mean, we'll never know, but we can't help but ask. I can't help but ask. Anderson does not appear to comply immediately, and two other officers arrive and move him to lie prone on his stomach in the street, telling Anderson to relax. They're moving him to lie prone on his stomach on the street. Now, how did they move him? Just by reading this text in this article, I can't tell how they moved him. Now, they do have video. Maybe we could look at that. But it doesn't say how they moved him. Did they put a knee on his back? Who knows? They moved him to lie prone on his stomach on the street. Now, telling Anderson to relax, that's a little more difficult than people say. If somebody's coming at you, they've got you laying prone on the street, they may be applying force to you while you're laying prone on the street. As officers struggle on top of him, clearly they're applying pressure and force, because if they wouldn't be struggling. The word struggle implies force. So they're using force on this man who's lying prone on his stomach in the middle of the street. Defense wouldn't necessarily even be something that Anderson might be trying to actually do. He might, but he doesn't have to. Fact is, if you're lying on the street and people are applying force to you, it's a natural physical reaction to try to defend yourself in some way. Or at least try to be a little more fucking comfortable with the goddamn situation, right? As officers struggle on top of him, Anderson can be heard screaming, "Help, they're trying to kill me, and please don't do this." This is a man who's in fear of his life. And are they doing anything to comfort that fear? No. In footage from another responding officer, an officer can be heard repeatedly warning Anderson to stop resisting and turn over. They're not comforting him, they're warning him. They're warning him that if you don't do what we want you to do, the worst fears that you have in your mind as to what we will do to you, will do to you. This is not how you de-escalate a situation. This is very much how you escalate a situation. They're trying to George Floyd me. George Floyd. Now, I'm sure for anybody who actually pays attention to these videos, I probably don't have to say too much, but George Floyd died in, 2020? 2021? When they put a knee on the man's back. They didn't just put it on his back, they put it on his neck, didn't they? The police officer put their knee on the man's neck when he was already on the ground. That's going to cut off circulation. The man couldn't breathe. He suffocated. He died. They killed him. And Anderson, Keenan Anderson here, is clearly worried that they're going to fucking kill him. Then an officer deploys a taser multiple times on Anderson and says, "I'm not resisting." And what we see through the taser and the hospital visit is that his fear of being killed by these police officers was extremely warranted and valid, not simply because of past experience with police in America. Not simply for the statistics of how many people are killed by police every year in America, but his fear that he would die at their hands, that came true. Otherwise, we wouldn't be reading this video right. We wouldn't be reading this article right now. Later in the video, the Los Angeles Fire Department places Anderson, who appears conscious, onto a gurney near an ambulance. Police say in the news release that Anderson was given medical care at the scene by fire department personnel before being transferred to a local hospital. While at the hospital, Anderson went into cardiac arrest and was pronounced deceased. They're trying to George Floyd me. They're trying to kill me. While at the hospital, Anderson went into cardiac arrest and was pronounced dead. They're trying to kill me. They did kill him. Los Angeles Police Captain Kelly Muniz said in the video that Anderson died approximately 4.5 hours after the use of force. A preliminary toxicology blood screen of Anderson's blood samples tested positive for cocaine and marijuana, police said, adding the Los Angeles County's coroner office is expected to conduct their own independent toxicology test. Now, at this point, I'm not the biggest fan of Dave Chappelle, but there's one little bit of comedy that he did in one of his stand-ups where he talked about how police would shoot a black person and then just sprinkle a little crack, right? Just sprinkle a little crack, sprinkle a little cocaine. You know, it's a way of justifying what they did. Oh, he was high on drugs, so we killed him. We killed him because he was on drugs. I've smoked a spliff or two. Most people have. Killed him because he was high on drugs. That's all he... Was he a threat? No. He was high. So we killed him. And the other thing is, what they'll do with black people in our media is the police will kill them once. And then our lovely, darling media, because they're so left-wing, will find every horrid thing they can find about this man that was killed by the police. And they will air it to anyone who will listen to them. Because black people in America are not killed once, they're killed twice, at least. Once when they're physically killed, and the other when their character. This man was a school teacher. Helped shape a lot of minds. Probably helped inspire our youth to hopefully something better than we're capable of now. And they killed him. Breonna Taylor was an EMT. And they killed her in the middle of her house in the middle of the night, conducting a no-knock warrant. No-knock raid. But what you'll hear about Breonna Taylor is her boyfriend was a drug dealer and she knew about it and all this other shit, right? They don't focus on the fact that this is a woman who spent her days working around emergency medical situations, helping to save lives. No, they don't focus on that. They focus on the drug dealer boyfriend instead. Because it's not enough to kill him once. You have to kill him twice. You have to drag their character and their reputation through the mud and through the shit after you kill them when they were never a threat to you to begin with. That's how we treat black people in this fucking country. It's goddamn disgusting. LAPD Chief Michael Moore said the videos were published in response to calls for their release from families. So the videos wouldn't have been published or released if the family of Keenan Anderson hadn't asked for it, hadn't requested it. And even after they asked for it and requested it, when it was released, it was edited. This is not again to do anything other than to demonstrate our commitment to full transparency. So why did you not release the video raw? Why did you edit, and I would dare suggest censor the video before you released it if you're interested in full transparency? And the judges on the merits of what the investigation shows us and ask for the public's patience as we go about this engagement, he said at a news conference Wednesday. They would have never released a video if the families hadn't requested it. And even when they did, it was edited. You know, there was text when there should have been just straight video. But they're interested in full transparency. My ass! Bullshit. No, they're not. They're doing a little thing that I learned in doing factory work. That some of you may have learned doing retail or fast food work. The sacred law of cover thy ass. That's what they're doing. Because if the people who cared about Keenan Anderson hadn't said anything, they would have never released any video to anyone for any reason. And even now that they have, it was edited. They don't want people to know the truth about what happened to this man. They want it to be another mystery. Another great mystery involving a black person and a police officer. Kind of like Sandra Bland, who mysteriously killed herself in a cell. So I'll link the police shooting database for you guys to go look at. That's all I got for this week, man. Have a good one.